All right, Javar, we're back. Another edition of the Current Era Pod. I mean, so many things to discuss in this NBA edition. Welcome back to the show. First of all, how are you doing? How are
Yes,
things?
sir.
And how the hell have you been enjoying all this NBA?
Yeah, man. Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Everything's great, man. Like the Lakers are just rolling. So
Ooh.
we got a bubble 2020 rematch of all the teams that was in the Final Four. So we'll see how this shakes out.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, there's been some interesting developments.
Interesting indeed. We let's just start with what we're seeing today in this game 7 between Philly and Boston. We were hoping that it was going to be a good game, a competitive game. I mean, you could argue that it was during the first half,
Yeah.
but I mean, the Celtics just completely blew it open in the third quarter, outscoring the Sixers 33-10, and then that's all she wrote. I mean, we're actually recording the pod early. Currently, Tatum has 51 with 7 minutes to go. The Celtics are up
Just
102-76 at this point.
for no
So
reason. He just keep on shivving
yeah,
him, just keep on stabbing him because it's been
yeah,
over since like halfway through the third quarter, basically.
exactly. Yeah. So man, look,
Uh,
it's over. So yeah, what have you seen from this series, man? Philly goes home again in the second round. Archie Bear, Joel Embiid MVP, James Harden, Tobias Harris, to Maxey, everybody. It's over again. Doc Rivers. Where do we start with this Philadelphia 76ers team?
I don't. It's all of it. I mean, it's their makeup. I mean, it's a Doc Rivers team who's known for blowing big leads. He can't finish the job. He's been living off the 2008 championship his entire career.
Entire
But
career.
I mean, that's really the only thing he had, and he had three Hall of Famers, and they probably should have won more. Honestly, they act like that one championship was a dynasty, but anyways, whole other subject. And then James Harden, who's I mean, call it what it is, man. He's a career choker. He just can't get it done when it come down to it in the playoffs. I mean, we tried to give him a chance. We gave him his praise when he had a few good games when they needed it, and big games on the road at that, and a home win too. Games one, I'm gonna say games 3 and 5.
Yep, 135.
Every game that they won, James Harden had a good game. So I don't know, man. Like game 5, I mean, sorry, game 6 in Philly. That's really what it came down to. They should have won that game. They had a double-digit lead. Embiid played well. Harden again laid an egg in that game.
Tatum was playing terrible the entire game
Yeah,
for the
but I said
last few
Tatum was what,
minutes.
like 1 of 13 in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter, something like that, and he really just didn't have nothing going until like the last 5 or 6 minutes, and he just went off for like hit what 3 or 4 threes. So props to Tatum because he was about to get killed. They were about to get
Yeah.
bounced out early in the second round, and he basically just tricked off and choked games. And that performance in an elimination game, that would have been really bad. It'll stay on his legacy. So he came through and then bounced back in the game 7 with 50 plus. It's still going right now. So I assume they kept him in so he could get his 50 because it was like it was an ass whooping for like most of this game, most of the second half. So
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say, man. I mean, Embiid didn't bring it in this one. He was kind of up and down. I mean, he was, give him his grace because he's hobbled out there. He's playing hurt, but it's interesting that he could have 30 in some games. It's like, why you can't keep doing that? Like, how does it go from 30 to 15 or 13? It's just his swings. He's always got an excuse in the playoffs. He's always hurt. I mean, I
Hmm.
don't know, like whatever. But something's got to give at Philly, man. They paying Tobias Harris near max money, and he just sliding under the radar. No criticism. Like this is this you should be getting. This should be your consistent third best player, and he's kind of just a role player. And
Kind of.
Harden just not that guy. I mean, well, I don't know, but they kind of need him. If he just walks this summer, they're screwed. So I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah, man. There's just a lot of things to break down and dissect here. I'll start with Joel Embiid. Like you said, he has a built-in excuse literally every year. This year is no different. He's hobbled. He's wearing a knee brace. He has a MCL sprain or something crazy
Yeah,
where it's supposed to take 4 to 6 weeks. He came back in a week and a half to play. So look, props to him because obviously without Joel Embiid, I mean, this would have been a sweep probably.
yeah.
Or actually that's not true. They stole game 1, so it would have been a gentleman's sweep. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, look, the reality is they don't make it anywhere without their MVP Joel Embiid. But how many times are we just going to let this guy slide? Like Just like for the past few years, we were having a conversation about Jokic. Just like we were having a conversation about Giannis before he eventually broke through. Joel Embiid has to produce. Like like this dude has not gotten past the second round in his career ever. That's that's telling. That's
That's
telling
crazy for his kind of talent. I mean,
for his
he just
talent.
got his MVP, so now that type of criticism we could give it to him. Like you know, now you're a Hall of Fame level player. I mean, you've always been that, but like you've got the credentials. Like you should be pushing to be one of the top 10 centers of all time. Like
Yeah.
you got to get that. You got to get a ring. Like or at least get to
Yeah.
the finals. At least
Yes.
get to the conference finals. At this point, he'll be 30, I think, next year. Like
Yeah.
so. I mean,
Clock
he's
is
not getting
ticking.
any younger, man. Yeah. So
And it's crazy. Like he's in his prime right now. Like
yeah.
these are like the best years that he's gonna have statistically. And you know, I mean, I say all this to say basically Philly has to make a decision, just like you stated. Like whether it's get rid of Harden. Well, I mean, he can walk. I think he has a player option, right?
Yeah.
He has a player option, so he can walk if he wants, which he probably will, depending on where Victor Wembanyama goes, which we'll discuss later. But you know, I mean, Joel Embiid, like I just don't know what the Sixers are going to do because they're kind of handcuffed in a way. Because, like you said, like they obviously they just weren't good enough to beat. And first of all, this is just a horrible matchup for them. Like they just have not been able to get the Celtics number like through not just this year but for years. Like it's been this way for years. I mean, Philly and Boston has always been kind of one sided since the Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown era here.
I just wanted
So
to give Boston some credit here. I mean, obviously Tatum's playing amazing in Game 7, but the Sixers have just never been able to recover from this adjustment adding Robert Williams to the starting lineup.
yeah,
And you know his size and that defensive ability combined with Horford going all in at home. I mean, again, I can't not understate how bad they blew it in game 6. They had to win that game,
yeah, they had
but
to. It was a must
Doc
win.
just has not been able to find any adjustments or hasn't been able to get these guys to. I mean, I don't know what to say about Harden. I mean, what is Doc's Doc's gonna get blamed. Everybody's gonna talk shit. I mean, obviously he gets it in some ways because they have not been able to make it easy for him, but. What
9
what can
points,
what can I mean? Come on, like
3 of 11.
what can you say about? I mean, this is crazy.
I mean, look, James Harden had a big game one. I mean, they won 2 of their 3 games because he hit game winners. But I think we
5
could
turnovers too.
I think we could argue more that the Celtics lost those games than Philly won those games.
Yeah,
But look, I mean, yeah, Harden, you know, both of us are Harden haters, but look, guys, look at what this guy does. Like, come on, bro.
look, right about Ben Simmons, right about James Harden. I mean, come on.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Doc Rivers is gone. I mean, he has like
I
no
think so.
leg to stand on. He's gone, bro. Like, what defense can he possibly have? They were up 3-2 going home, and
But
they
okay,
lost.
if you're like some good coach out there, is this Philly situation a good situation? Especially if Harden bounce. I mean,
Um, I would say yes, just because Joel Embiid is a perfect guy to build around. And if I'm a young coach, I would say like I would be willing to take that chance. But
what's his contract like?
that's a great question. I think he has 2 or 3 more years. So I mean, but I mean that doesn't matter. I mean, you know, we Kevin Durant requested a trade. He had 4 years on his contract, so
Right. Like he just recently signed an extension, so he's his deal. He don't got a player option until 27. But
okay,
yeah, he might, if Harden bounce and they don't got nothing going on, he might just ask for a trade.
yeah,
Try to go to the Knicks or something, which we'll talk about them here soon.
yeah, hilarious. But look, man, it's over. Oh my gosh, girls, it's over for Philly again. Shout out to the Boston Celtics. They're going back to the Eastern Conference Finals. I do think that there are some chinks in the armor, but I will say, like you said, putting Robert Williams back in the starting lineup, giving Malcolm Brogdon, who's just been fantastic for them, minutes, and you know just the combined efforts of Tatum, Smart, and Brown it's basically enough to help you compete in any series. So kudos to the Celtics, man. They beat who they were supposed to beat. They won two straight games, tough game 6, and you know destroyed them in game 7 at home. And apparently Tatum has a playoff career high, 51 points, which is also an all-time high in a game 7, which Steph just beat in
Wow.
Sacramento, which was he had 50.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jason Tatum. But yeah, it's over. Let's move on, man. Let's talk about the Miami Heat and the New York Knickerbockers. Knickerbockers. This series was interesting because it was never really in doubt, in my opinion. It's crazy because like we make these jokes about like we don't understand how Miami is just doing this. Like they basically had the easiest path. Like if you look at it to the conference finals out of any other teams that are left aside, maybe the Nuggets, but
I mean, that's what
Miami's been
happens if
rolling.
that 1-8 bracket. I mean, that the 1 seed is supposed to have the easiest route. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why you do. That's what
Oh,
you earn. That seed for, and they're supposed to win that series. So since Miami won, now they have the basically the 1 seed bracket. Though they don't have home court advantage in none of those, but
hmm
um, they'll have the easier matchups up until the conference finals. So
yeah. But yeah,
maybe that's what
man,
they were
like
trying to do this whole time.
right. Playing mind games. Yeah, no, they're not. Miami pretty much dominated this series. The New York Knicks just had nothing. Jalen Brunson was trying to do everything he could do, but you need at least a 1-2 punch. And Julius Randle, I mean, where did he go? Like
He
this
had
dude,
what, maybe one good game the entire series.
yeah, I think game two when he came back in New York, he
Yeah.
had a decent game. But other than that, I mean, they locked him up. Like this dude was in the torture chamber. I mean, oh my goodness. Yeah. Did you see what Stephen A. and yeah, did you see what Stephen A. said about R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle after the game?
Yeah, he said. I remember he said R.J. Barrett. He just need to work on his game. Like he's kind
Yeah.
of giving him like a little time because he's young, and I think they just gave him a contract, and ain't nobody really want that. And Julius Randle, man, yeah, he's done with him. Like he's just talking about how he's tired of his surly attitude, and he never shows up in the playoffs, and woot the woot, and
He said you cannot win with him, and the Knicks need to trade him.
man, I mean, I don't think he could be your best or even your second best player. I think clearly Jalen Brunson. I mean, he could step his game up. I don't think he could be your best player either.
Hmm
I think Jalen Brunson could be your second best. If you could get like a tier, like a top tier, I think they either need a center or like a three, like a small forward or something like that. Um, and they be interesting. Like maybe depending on who it is, maybe contender level. Donovan Mitchell, I don't think was that guy, but I don't even know. I mean, it's I don't think James Harden, if they're somehow trying to look for him in free agency, I don't think he's that guy.
What about Cat
Uh,
or Dame?
Cat, I don't think he got that dog to be your number one. Um, Dame, I mean, what you gonna do with Dame and Brunson? Like, you just gonna trade Brunson? Like, okay, Dame is getting kind of old.
No,
You
no,
gonna
no. I
build around Dame?
mean, run them out there together.
No, 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 no.
No,
Come on, man.
too
We just had
small.
Dame and CJ McCollum, man. I know Dame tired of playing with these small guards in the backcourt.
Okay.
Um, I don't know who's really out there though. Let me see.
Golden State maybe looking to make some
Perhaps
moves.
who's really okay. We'll talk about Golden. Let's talk about maybe some off-season shuffles after this. After we get through some of these series, because there's a couple teams like DeAndre Ayton might be out there. So maybe I don't know
Mm,
if he's not like a good number one, but
no.
there's a couple. He might be. The Suns probably got to get rid of him too. So I
Yeah.
want to trade Chris Paul. So I don't know. It might be.
Look,
But as far as
yeah.
this series, man, like, yeah, the you gotta. There's something about them Thibodeau teams too. Like, I mean, they always just they might max out as best they can in the regular season, but in the playoffs they just never have like much adjustments they can make. Like their offense is usually shitty. All their games are low scoring, but they never have any like basically any creativity on offense. Like Brunson had to basically just put the team on his back and just go. But
hmm
if you don't have that type of talent off the dribble or to get your own shot all the time and the pick and roll game, stuff like that, like maybe they need to have more motion or more sets or something to just help free up some of the guys to where they know where they're supposed to be
Right.
and can have some opportunities on the move and stuff. Like the fact that Randall had to get all of his like on post ups and ISOs, it's like that's easy to guard. He's not. I mean, he's a good player, even like a really good player, but like he's not like a knockdown jump shooter. And if you close off his driving lanes, he's going to go left every time. So if you can just base your defensive game plan around that, he's got to be able to get the ball in different spots and have different things to do. And so I blame some on Randall. I kind of look at Thibs though too. It's like he's built up the team. They're respectable. I mean, they had a good season.
They did.
So, but it's just looking at the next steps. They definitely have to make some more roster moves to get another piece or two or three.
Mhm.
But they might have to think about. I mean, everybody seems like they firing their coach nowadays, so they might just have to do some coach shuffle, and maybe Monty Williams or, or Doc Rivers or something could change up something for them, or I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's interesting, man. I feel like New York, like you said, they had a great regular season, and with the addition excuse me, of Jalen Brunson, I think it like re-energized the city of New York, because I do think a lot of the fans were kind of sour on Julius Randle going into the season. And I mean, this series against the Heat, I mean, it's so weird. Like the Knicks had home court advantage, but Jimmy Butler came in and just dominated from the first game. I mean, you could argue that they would have won game two as well if he wouldn't have sprained his ankle at the end of game one. But Miami was just the better team, which is crazy. Like, again, like they're running out Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, and Kyle Lowry, and dudes that I don't even know, like this Highland kid and Cody Martin. Like they're just together. Like Eric Spoelstra has these guys bought in and believing that they can freaking do it, and they're just riding Jimmy Butler's coattails. Like he's just carrying them offensively. Like he's getting them a bucket, he's getting them a stop, and
Bam, like Bam, when the game slows down, he's a good player in the playoffs. Like he's not, maybe his stats don't always jump out at you, but similar like AD, like he's very like everywhere all the time on defense. Like he makes their whole defense work, and
yeah,
gotta give him credit for that.
Yeah,
and he's kind of like somewhat like a Draymond type guy on offense, where he helps do a lot of like handoffs and post actions where he's playmaking and stuff. So that's important for them.
Yeah,
but mainly it's just Jimmy Butler, it's just alpha, and these dudes out here, man. Like
that's really what it is. Yeah, I mean, even in the final moments of this past game, Jimmy Butler was like, "I got Jalen Brunson," and forced him into a turnover, blocked his shot. It was just like, this guy's not fair. Like he just do anything he wants out there. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, I mean, we've got the Celtics and the Miami Heat. The 2020 bubble is back in full effect. It's crazy.
Gotta give all them credits, all them team their credit,
Yeah, you
the
do.
Bubble, it wasn't just the bubble. It's like those are actually good teams and good cores there. It's mostly same cores, so even though the teams, shift their role players and whatever around.
Yeah. Before we talk about the conference finals, let's jump over to the West. Let's talk about the Denver Nuggets and the Phoenix Suns. I mean, I think this series was never really in doubt as well, in my opinion, even though it was tied 2-2. But, bro,
it was more interesting than I thought it was going to be. I mean, pretty much what I said the Suns had to do to even win was happen for two games. Like, basically, Booker and KD just get 40 nuclear.
Each. Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, we all know that that's just not sustainable. Like, Landry Shamet came in and helped them win game 4 in the fourth quarter, which was great to see. But if you're depending on guys like that to do that every night, it's tough, man. It's just tough. And I promise, like, I'm not trying to take shots at these guys. Like, these guys are NBA level pro players, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, in a playoff series against a team like the Denver Nuggets, who are deep as hell, it's just not enough to have KD and Booker score 40. Like, it's just not. And we saw it. We saw it in games 5 and 6. Like, both of those guys were considerably worn down. They were missing. They were taking a lot of shots each one of those games, and I mean, Denver just overwhelmed them. Like, it was
KD only shot maybe 30-something% that whole series. Like he's kind of just a volume scorer, getting to the line and stuff. Mm-hmm. But his 3-pointer was not falling. It was kind of interesting. Like, man, he's so skilled, so great. But nowadays, what we see with him aging, like he doesn't necessarily get to the rack as easy as he used to. Like he's got to rely on that mid range and the outside jumper. Like, and he's a great shooter. He could thrive like that. But it's just harder. It's a little bit of aging that I see. I guess he's just not getting the shots off as easy as he used to be. He can be, I don't say shut down, but you can like really slow him down and make him a volume scorer in the playoffs if you like really key in on him.
I mean, but
because they had to focus most of their attention on Booker.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, look, they actually focused most of their attention on Durant. Booker actually saw a lot of single coverage, but as it shifted, they basically just started doubling both of those guys.
Yeah,
just not even guarding the other players.
But like, and I think that that entire point kind of goes back to the makeup of the team. Like you're able to leave a Josh Okogie or a Cameron Payne or a DeAndre Ayton because they're just not going to do anything, and you can double KD and Booker and have them take these tough shots. I mean,
Yeah.
if those guys are going to win a series like that, hats off to them. But it's just it's not likely, bro.
But
Even as great as both of those guys are at scoring.
yeah, for their offense to have stood a chance, they would have needed a Chris Paul to help connect and help those role players get good shots and stuff like that too. And without Chris Paul, I mean, yeah, which there's something like I'm not even trying to make a joke about it, but it seems every playoffs he keep getting hurt. Like this has been a thing since he pulled his hamstring against the Warriors back in what 2017, 2018, something like that.
Something like that.
So I don't know, man. It's like he's still got what 2 or 3 more years in that contract, making 30 something, 40 something million a year.
40 something, yeah.
So that's a rough deal there. Because
Yeah.
he's if he could somehow stay healthy, I mean, he's definitely a diminished player. He's basically almost to the level of a role player, and to be making that much money, not getting that real production, at least he provides like leadership and stuff like that. But then you can't even rely on him to actually be there in the playoffs. That's just like it's a bad deal. And
Yeah.
I don't even think they could like rest him half the season and bring him in the playoff. I still think he would get hurt in like intense playing 35 plus minutes in playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree. Unfortunately, it's kind of sad to see, man. I mean, Chris Paul has been, I mean, at least a part of my lifetime, he's probably been one of the best playmakers or decision makers, leaders out there, aside from maybe LeBron.
Yeah, man.
But Father Time's undefeated. I mean, he's old. Like he's 38 too. Like
It's crazy. Like back in the day, if guys like when they get to this level, they would probably retire. I
Mhm.
mean, but now they're making so much money. It's just like no, like bro, I still got 80 more million in like coming these next couple of years. I got to just keep rolling myself out here and looking bad because I got to get this money. I can't just retire and not get paid this money.
Yeah.
So
That's how it goes. Two more storylines I want to point out here. One, the Jokic versus the Suns owner Matt Ishiba type thing in Game 4. I thought it was hilarious. I feel like this whole incident went a little more viral than I thought it was going to go. And I guess
yeah.
just because like it was the star player versus the fan, and like people didn't realize that was the Suns owner. I
I think
mean,
if they would have just said, why I don't know, why were they trying to say he was a fan? Like if they would have said he's the owner, they would have probably brushed over even more and just like,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I mean it's the media. They got to hype it up for the clicks and
No, it was
the
like
views.
no, the Nuggets were saying that, like Jokic
Oh,
and
the
Malone.
Nuggets.
Like
Yeah.
I think they just felt like he was a fan, and they didn't. They act like okay, oh that was the owner. Oh okay, well he's in the fan. He's in the crowd. He's a fan, so treat him like a fan. But
Yeah.
okay, bro,
I thought it
you
was funny
thug.
because right. I thought it was funny because like obviously Jokic like Cameron Payne was out of bounds and he wasn't in the play, so Jokic was just trying to inbound it to get the 5-on-4, and like Matt and Sheba was just like, no, it's my ball, and like
Was it
Jokic
really that
did push
serious,
him.
or was he kind of just still hold it like on some casual? Was he like trying to keep it away from
No,
Jokic?
no,
Okay,
he had that thing clutch, like he was not going to give him that ball. And
okay.
then Jokic pushed him, and he gave like Matt Sheba gave the greatest sell. Like, yeah, he was like, oh! It was hilarious. It was hilarious. But yeah,
Man.
I mean, I did you expect any league punishment from that when you initially saw it?
Nah, because he got the technical. I mean, that's the punishment. Um, if it would escalated more than that, it's just luckily it didn't. But
Yeah,
no, from what happened, I think that was just kind of harmless. Yeah.
I tend to agree. Last point, man. It was just announced the other day. Monty Williams, he lost his job from the Suns. They got destroyed in Game 6, just like they got destroyed in Game 7 at home last year against Dallas. This is not a good look, man. It's not a good look. A guy who was just in the NBA Finals 2 years ago, but
And
back-to-back
recent
years,
coach of the year.
yeah, and recent coach of the year. But I mean, back-to-back years, your team is just floundering out there in these potential games at home to extend the series or win a series. Um, so yeah, what's your reaction to this firing?
I mean, he's a good coach, but for some reason in the playoffs, he seems to panic a little bit, and like he's playing his guys all these minutes. He's like going off on DeAndre Ayton. He can't keep a good relationship with him.
Yeah.
Um, so it just kind of just seems like once the pressure gets really on, he might not be that guy. I don't know. So uh, it kind of just one of those things too. You get a new owner. The GM is probably sitting there like, oh, okay, what do you want to do, sir? You want to get rid of him? Okay, yeah, let's get rid of him. He's the reason why, because don't look at me. I got
Right.
Durant for you. So, but yeah, and that's James Jones. So he's basically on the clock too.
Yeah, he
So
is.
it makes sense for him to make a move first and get rid of the coach and try to make it seem like it's okay. You got Durant. Now we're going into the new era with Durant and Booker. We get a new coach. Figure out what we're going to do with Chris Paul. Figure out what we're going to do with DeAndre Ayton, because I don't know. Maybe they figure with a new coach he can get something they can get something out of DeAndre Ayton, since they just gave him a max.
Mm-hmm.
And they need a center. I mean, he's a good center. It's just he's got potential to be more. For some reason, he hasn't been able to do that. He should have shown a little bit in this series. I mean, Jokic straight dominated him. Like every game, he was getting like 30 something, and we're like triple doubles down there. Ayton was like in foul trouble or getting only 15 points. It was just like we're invisible out there. Yeah, out there like Jock Landale or something like that was out there taking his minutes and finishing in crunch time. It's like, what's going on, man? Like you just got paid and you just like, oh, I don't give a fuck. Like whatever, y'all. You want to bench me, whatever. As long as the check's clear.
Yeah.
So yeah, they got to figure something out. Maybe that's what they think. Just changing coaches is the move. But do you have any thoughts? I'm sorry, I kind of hogged the time.
No. I think this is essentially their answer to the offseason. I mean, because they had to do something to address the roster, and this is just the first domino to fall, because it's been reported numerous times that Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton just don't get along. Like they're just. I mean, I don't want to say they're ops, but like these niggas got beef. You know what I mean? So like, Monty Williams had to be the first domino to fall, but I think the Suns are gonna try this core again, because it's basically gonna be the Harden and Philly thing last year. Like they didn't have a full season; they only played a handful of games together. People were in and out the lineup. Let's see what we can do with the full season and a revamped roster with Chris Paul, Booker, KD, and Ayton. Let's see what we can do. At least that's how it's going to be the first half of the season. But who knows what team we'll see on the Suns in the second half of the season. But I absolutely think that that's their mentality, like moving forward, going into the summer, is we're going to see what we can do with what we have. I mean, obviously they need to add other things, but yeah.
What do you think? What do you think they really need? I mean, because can you see them becoming a championship contender with this? I mean, where how they're set up right now? Yeah, because they're kind of thin. They don't have nobody else in the wings, no defense.
I mean,
and KD, he's a great player, but he's injury prone. He's going to be in and out the lineup, so you can't rely on that. Like when you look at it on paper, record wise, for them just booking 82 games for both of them. So I don't know, like
but
it's looking like maybe a 4th to 5th seed again, and just kind of like right now as it looks. I don't know, man.
I don't think so. I mean, with a revamped, I mean, look, we started the season 2-10, and we revamped our roster. And now we're in the Western Conference Finals with an old LeBron and AD. So
yeah.
I can't say that the same thing can't happen for the Suns if they revamp their roster and they get actual NBA rotation guys, which is what we did. So. I mean,
at least Bron. You make it sound so easy, but at least Bron and AD have a proof of concept. They won a championship together, so you know what type of guys you need around them.
Yeah, I mean, like Chris Paul, Ayton, and Booker. At least they went to the finals together. They were good enough to at least get that far. So
Chris Paul is like 3 levels lower than that from 2021. He can't match that level like consistently in a series, and even then he was falling off that year. So. And then I don't know, like we'll see. I don't know what to think about Ayton. Devin Booker, he's gained my respect. He's had a monster playoffs, by the way. Mm-hmm. He looked fatigued in Game 6, but I don't know, man. I think now that I've seen them play more and more and play in the playoffs, I'm not as high on the Suns. It's like I already wasn't that high on that trade because what they had to give up, and looking at the roster is so thin. But if they're just going to rely on like exceptions and think they could feel around this roster and just come back with the same core. I don't know. I have to see it, but let's see what kind of coach they get.
Very interesting. Let's move on to the Lakers and the Warriors, the series of the semifinals. This one was, I don't want to say that it was super competitive, but it was definitely the most interesting, I'd say.
Why you say that?
Just because
there's three or four blowouts, I guess. Well, the
yeah.
blowouts. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, like obviously it's LeBron versus Steph again. Warriors, they're in their dynasty. I mean, I guess we can talk about if the dynasty is over after we give our thoughts on the series, but man, just like what a what a span of 3 games. Like game 4, the Lonnie Walker game where he just completely saved our asses. Game 5 where we just weren't going to get it done. They blew us out in their home. And then game 6 where we just whooped that ass. Honestly, my thoughts on the series, I'm going to try to sound a little controlled, but like it kind of reminded me of the Memphis series to an extent where like they just didn't have an answer for anything that we were doing. Like they couldn't stop AD. They couldn't stop Bron. They couldn't really stop D'Lo. They couldn't stop Austin Reeves. They couldn't stop even like Rui or Lonnie. Like they just couldn't do anything with any of our actions or our motion. I will say, excuse me. I will say once they entered Gary Payton II in the starting lineup, they were able to get a lot more of those backdoor cuts when they pulled AD up and forced him to guard on the pick and roll. But even that wasn't enough because Steph wasn't hitting shots and Clay, oh my God, like I said this in the last pod, but like in games 1 and 2, Clay was killing us. And I was just like, bro, like he literally has not looked this good all year. Like he literally hasn't. Like he was looking like fucking 2017 Clay out there. But then he was basically awful for the rest of the series. I think he was like 9 of 45 for his last threes in the last few games. So we shut that ass down. But Anthony Davis, bro, like I urge people to actually watch these games and just see the impact that he has on defense, man. Like he's literally everything for us. I mean, from being able to take a high pick and roll and show on a Steph, Clay, or Poole to guard them, make them dribble the ball more, to take a tougher shot, to get back to the rim after they pass and defend the paint, and just to change any shot at the rim. Like AD is just incredible. He was the key in this series, like he's going to be in the next. And I think we won this series basically because, I mean, obviously, like I said, like they just couldn't stop us. But AD was just dominating this entire series. But what are your thoughts on what you saw, man? Lakers beat the Warriors 4-2. We did it. We ended the dynasty. It's fucking over. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I would say it was apparent, even in game 1 that AD was just a problem for the Warriors. Like he was bottling up their defense. Bottling them up on offense. Basically, they couldn't do anything in the paint. They had to take that's why in that first game they took like 43s and they only made like 20 of them the first couple games. Mm-hmm. So that was all their shots. And then once we started to scout more on their 3-pointers and started running them off the line more, they had to try to live in the mid range and had to try to score in the paint more, like you said, by drawing AD out of the paint. So, this is one of those series. It was like a chess match. Like, Steve Kerr, man, he kept trying to do everything he can, searching for any kind of solution, any kind of guy who would give them energy or, give them any kind of advantages. And, the guys who sucked, he wasn't playing them. Or, guys he didn't trust, he wasn't playing them.
Jordan Poole.
It's kind of surprising that he didn't use like Kuminga more. Just somebody with some size and athleticism that could just do something out there. But maybe he just didn't trust him on defense or whatever, wouldn't get rebounds or whatever the case may be. But like it really, like in a way, this is like, I wouldn't say it was the same like Memphis because we had to really make adjustments. Like we had to like in the first in game 2 when they put in JaMychal Green. That was their idea to try to stretch the floor. So we had to change the matchups instead of having because Vando was playing so well on Steph the first couple games, but Clay was getting off, and they still was getting a lot of open shots. So what we did was we started to realize we had to play up more on Draymond, and so stuff like that, like just the little stuff like that, and how okay, so they're trying to bring AD out with all these pick and rolls. Why don't we switch from time to time, or do a little short roll and come back, or basically run them off the line? Like the guards have to just be aggressive about being there and running them off the line. They're going to take crazy shots like in a nickel space, and that's what they're going to have to live off of. But otherwise, stay on them and nothing easy. And that worked, man, because they don't have any like this team. The Warriors, they came into the year relying on these young guys, and it just didn't work. Like these young guys just didn't do it for them, didn't provide them any consistent minutes on both ends that Steve Kerr trusted. Missing like simple, like you would think a guy like Otto Porter or Nemanja Bjelica, Gary Payton for most of the year, like these little minimum contract type guys are just like whatever. But sometimes just like certain type of roles just have that synergy and chemistry with what they're doing out there in any kind of team sport. And sometimes just different tools work better in different settings. And who knows, they might not have had the same year if they would have brought those guys back this year, but last year it all worked for them. This year they just came in with a bit too much unknowns. I think they would have been better off trying to get veterans that could still play. It didn't work out for them because they didn't have any other, like Steph called it a different pitch, like a changeup. That they didn't have any other different type of looks they can look to, like because they relied on their motion. They tried to do a lot more pick and rolls, but that wore Steph down to where he couldn't come through in the clutch in games 5. He was kind of wearing down in games 4, and he's kind of wearing down. Like he didn't really get off on us like this entire series. Like he had it like what 32 was like his the highest he had or something like that. Like I don't think he broke 35 in this series. So and I don't know, like it kind of just makes you think like you look at how the Lakers are spread out. I mean, AD, he killed that narrative about every other day. He had one bad game, and other than that, he was great the entire series. Only he got the only reason we lost. Well, we probably could have maybe stole even game 5. Honestly, we didn't get skunked. We just kind of didn't have the energy for it, and he even had a good game in that one. So he got possibly concussed and came back. Man, that would have been crazy if he would have like actually missed that game. Like we're so lucky that AD was okay and able to play like himself.
Yeah.
But the way we came out that aggressively, we could have probably won that game anyway. I mean, how LeBron played. I mean, Austin Reeves, man, this guy is just like a legitimate starter. Like at least let's start there. Like he's a playoff player, 16-game player. He's got like respect around the league for sure. Like we got to pay this dude. He's better than Jordan Poole. Better than Tyler Hero. He deserves $100 million. Give this man his money. D'Lo, he had his ups and downs. For Austin, let me start because he actually was kind of rough. He kind of was looking fatigued in the first couple games, but
he was getting cooked by Clay.
Yeah, it was rough, but he found his legs. He found something, and then kept looking at the film. Whatever he did, he's able to bounce back and defended well. He defended Steph a lot in the series too. And man, where would we be without this guy and how he's blossomed? It's crazy. I was going about D'Lo. He kind of was up and down, but he's been solid. Like for the most part. Like that's everything we could ask for him. He's okay. Like he doesn't. If he has a bad game, okay, at least he go to Dennis or something else. But for the most part, he's had more good games than bad. I think at least in the last week or so, he's gotten better. He's a threat from outside. He could get hot quick. Yeah, I love that he was attacking Steph and Poole, and even Gary Payton with his strengths. He's got size. He can shoot over those guys. Mid range, he's got a buttery mid range shot. I love it that he uses it. I mean, Rui didn't have a great series, like as far as like having a lot of minutes, but he was useful and solid. Vando did what he could. He could not make a shot, but he was great on defense and hustling out there. Man, and I don't know, it just makes oh yeah, Dennis. I mean, what can you say about Dennis? Like he kind of does some crazy turnovers sometimes, but but for the most part, you can rely on him to be solid, hit his little floaters and drives to the right because he only go right. I
Played
don't know
great
why.
defense on Steph too.
Yeah, and yeah, his defense is on his. He's kind of short, but his man defense on shorter point guards, he will like hound those guys. Like so, he was chasing stuff around. He made it hard on him. Draymond had to try to get him ejected in Game 6 because he was trying to get him ejected too. But whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, what man? Just makes you dream, man. This team got some magic, man. How do we keep having these role players pop up? Like that's not really normal, man. It just you could just kind of rely on 7 guys to be in a foxhole with. That's I don't know, man.
Yeah,
so we got a tough series coming up though. But yeah,
we damn sure do. We damn sure do. We're gonna talk about that in a second, but before we move on, I want to talk about the Warriors, man, because going into this offseason for them, obviously they've got a lot of decisions to make. I mean, even Bob Myers is at the end of his contract. Draymond Green has a player option. Obviously, the Jordan Poole punch thing. I mean, honestly, even
that probably ruined their season too. Honestly,
I mean,
starting off, yeah,
it did, but even if that didn't happen with this roster, I think that this was probably their ceiling. I mean, this roster just isn't good enough. It's crazy how. I mean, like you said earlier, like you miss role players, but like Andrew Bogut, like David West, like Leandro Barbosa, Sean Livingston, like these are guys that have name value in the league, but like they can actually play, like they can actually do something for you. And don't get me wrong, like I think Moses Moody came in and gave them decent to great minutes. Like he was hitting his shots when he was shooting them. He was playing decent defense on LeBron. But like if he's your only guy coming off the bench doing anything when Jordan Poole is making 140 million, that's tough. Jordan Poole was absolutely terrible in this series. I mean, we can say in the playoffs, but in this series in particular, he was terrible. And like I can't believe he was that bad. Like it was
like
to the point.
Food on defense,
Oh
dreadful on offense. Like nobody was taking him serious. He was taking crazy mid-range shots and drives and getting blocked. It was like he couldn't really shoot his threes because I don't know. It was just bad.
I think it goes back to game 1 because that game 1, Steph, Clay, and Jordan Poole hit 6 threes apiece. Or was that game 2? Whatever game was the one.
I think that was game 1 that we won. Yeah, we won that game.
Yeah.
They all 3 players hit 6 threes. Yeah.
Yeah, and Jordan Poole took that long 3 instead of taking the dribble in. I really think that like messed with his confidence because he just wasn't the same the entire series, man. Like it's crazy like how bad.
But he was struggling in the Utah series too, though. I'm sorry, the Sacramento series. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, new series against a new team, you can figure like, okay, like, this is time for me to start new. I mean, he started off great. He had 6 threes. Like he had a great game. He was 6 of 10 before he took that bullshit 3 and lost the game. So I don't know.
My question is, why do people talk about Jordan Poole when he only averaged like 10 minutes a series? What about Klay Thompson? He was absolutely fucking terrible. Like that is a problem. Like he makes $43 million, I think, next year. Yeah. So what do they got? Like, I think if I was the Warriors, I would, obviously Steph's not going nowhere. I think the Steph and Draymond thing is special. I think you have to keep that together as long as you can. Jordan Poole don't fit this shit. Get him out of here. Like if you could trade him for like a value, he's got to go. Klay Thompson, I just don't think anybody wants that contract, even though it's an expiring. It would have to be to like at the trade deadline or something like that. So you figure he'll be back. He's got to get in the lab and he's got to at least become a consistent. I mean, get back to a consistent spot up shooter or something. Like change his shot selection, work on some post game, something. Like he's got to add something to his game because these taking these shots like he's still a splash brother. It holds them back, and it kind of is like that awkward kind of thing in the locker room. I'd have to imagine like this guy's out here shooting 3 for 18 every other game, and nobody criticizes him. Where I'm the one getting shitted on, and I'm barely playing, or whatever. So
yeah.
So that's that. They got to figure that out. And it's interesting with the Bob Myers thing. I think if I had to guess, I think he's kind of don't want to come back because these are some tough decisions they're gonna have to have here soon, like with Clay and Dre, and possibly breaking up the core or telling them they're not getting this max that they think they want. Like, so it's probably just hard to do. I mean, he's so close to these guys. He's basically helped build a dynasty or whatever. So I can understand if he want to move on to the next thing instead of dealing with this because it's
Yeah.
probably not fun going forward.
Yeah. Very true. Very
But I
true.
think they've got so many big dollar assets that I think they have some flexibility a little bit to make some moves. It just depends on what else other teams might want to do. Um,
What if they get Carl Anthony Towns? Let's say they give up Poole Wiggins and they get
no,
Carl
send
Anthony
Wiggins
Towns.
back.
Yep, send him back.
It'd probably have to be like adding one of those like a Moody or Kaminga type thing.
Sure, whatever.
So
Sure.
Kaminga
Let's
and Poole for Towns.
hmm
Uh, that'd be interesting because I think Draymond could. I think they could. They've got that DNA. Like they could kind of like have what they did Wiggins, like kind of make a man out of you type thing. I think they could kind of put some hair on Town's chest too. You know what I'm saying? Like
that'd be interesting. And I think it can happen. I think like dollar wise and everything, it adds up. So I
let
mean,
me ask
because
this:
Minnesota
what
has
if
to do something too.
what if Draymond is like, or teams are out here like Draymond. If you opt out, bro, we got the max for we got like 40 million, whatever, like way more than Golden State trying to pay him. Because I don't think they're going over. They're trying to pay him more than 30. Because you got to remember, Golden State they're strapped with this salary cap too. There have been basically super spenders way over the luxury tax for so long that they're paying like double in salary because they have to pay luxury tax
Mm-hmm.
fines. So um, that's not sustainable either. Even though they're making great, buku money with this team, something's got to give with that. So I just wonder, if they've got a number they're not willing to go above, if say like somehow Philly or Phoenix or Dallas or something, come up with some money. There's a lot of good fits for Draymond. The teams that could use a guy like him.
If Draymond Green leaves the Golden State Warriors, the dynasty is officially over.
I agree. I give you that.
I think that would be like a huge blow to what the Warriors are, their identity, what they try to do. Um, don't get me
Wait,
wrong, like
Draymond for Ayton straight up, still not enough.
no.
Okay, I agree.
If that Warriors team will not win a championship without Draymond Green, that's just like
I
I
agree.
I don't see it happening. He's basically their heart and soul, especially on defense. And at some point, you've got to be able to defend to win a championship. So I think Draymond Green is possibly their most important asset aside from Steph. So if they give him up, which I don't think they're going to do, I mean the Warriors aren't stupid. I mean they let this nigga punch somebody for the world to see, and they didn't do anything aside from suspend him for a week. So
Yeah, I
uh,
think that's like the key to me that they realize they got to keep him, and especially like if you had to pick between Poole or Draymond, I mean, come on, like,
yeah, bye, Paul, bye.
yeah, right. And what does
uh,
Steph want?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean Steph wants his boy. Let's move over. Let's talk about the conference finals, man, because now there's only 4 teams left. We have in the East, starting on Wednesday, I believe, is the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. They have home court advantage again. Um, it's hard to say that this isn't going to be a good series because like
Right.
Miami is first of all, I think that this is like kind of like a tough matchup for Boston, but Miami is Miami's just so interesting because I just can't fathom how they're going to keep up in scoring with the Celtics because the
Yeah.
Celtics are going to score, but at the same time, maybe they're not because like Miami's just going to lock their ass down.
I
I
was about
don't
to say
know.
they've got to keep it a rock fight, like under
Yeah.
105, and just make it. I mean, that's kind of how the Lakers are gonna have to do too, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
we're similar in the ways that we're depending on our defense to keep the games close and strike. So I think we'll be surprised that like there'll be some ugly shooting games for the Tatum's and Browns and stuff where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well that's how Miami won that one because it was a rock fight. Some games, and that's how the Celtics are too, as we see. Some games
Mhm.
they hit their threes, some games they can't hit anything. They take a lot of threes, they live and die by them. They have a lot of good shooters, but that happens sometimes where you can't make shit. So there's gonna be some games like that, and it's going like we're just gonna see. Like I think we're also going to see the difference in like a rookie coach Missoula and Eric Spoelstra too. Like I think that's going to be a key advantage for Miami. Like he's just going to be pulling all types of adjustments and little things that probably take the Celtics a little time to adjust to. Do you think the Celtics are going to still play big in this one, or go back to Williams
I
off the
don't
bench?
I don't think they can because
I agree.
Miami's running four shooters out there
I
and
agree. Yeah.
Bam. So like Miami, I mean, Boston cannot run the Robert Williams Al Horford lineup as much as they're going to want to. Um, I think that'd be like a huge detriment to them and spacing and them just giving up open threes to Miami. And I mean, give the Gabe Vinces, the Kyle Lowrys, the Max Struces, like those guys, like give them credit. Like they're producing this entire postseason.
Duncan
So
Robinson getting some minutes.
yeah, they dusted off Duncan Robinson, which is hilarious. Kevin Love is still out there shooting, so you
Yeah.
can't you can't really run that lineup in my opinion. But I mean, I think it's pretty much what you said. Like it's going to come down to Eric Spoelstra and Joe Mazzulla, two guys that are not even playing the game. But did you know Eric Spoelstra has never won Coach of the Year? Never.
Wow,
That's
I didn't know that.
crazy. That's
That is
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, he's never won Coach of the Year. I mean, you could argue he's probably the best coach in the league, but yeah, man,
It's one of those weird things, like how Tim Duncan never won Defensive Player of the Year, where he was
yeah,
anchoring a great defense for his whole career.
yeah. But yeah, man, this series is going to be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes 7. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Miami wins, which is crazy. But
I agree. I mean, because clearly the Celtics have some kind of mental thing where it's just it's they teeter here where you could catch them, and I think Miami's just they some wolves. They're looking for any kind of opportunity. They're gonna get you. So
yeah,
I still think the Celtics probably should win.
yes,
But
I agree.
again, I won't be surprised. So I'm gonna take the coward's way out and say Celtics in 7. But I won't be surprised either way. I won't be surprised if even the Heat win it in 6 or something. Like,
Wow. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say I mean, yeah, all right. I'm gonna say Miami's gonna win this series, and they're gonna win it in 5. I think Miami. I
you
think
say,
I
wow, I
think
made in 6, but you say 5? Come on.
I think Miami is just gonna dominate this series. Like I've been disrespecting them this entire postseason, and it's my fault, and I'm sorry. Like Miami is here to play. They're going to have a game plan. I mean, even as we speak, these niggas are in the film room right now, probably like writing down stuff about what they're going to do against Tatum and Jaylen Brown and who they're going to attack and things of that nature. So, I mean,
So let me ask: if Philly would have won Game 7 or Game 6 or whatever, they would have won the series. Do you think you'd have picked Philly, or would you still pick Miami in 5?
I would have picked Philly because I mean I feel like it would have been destiny for Philly to make it to the finals. But I mean, yeah, I mean it's not meant to be because it's Miami's destiny to make it back.
So this sounds like more. Is this more how you believe in Miami or an indictment on Boston? Then, since you say
It's a mixture of both. Archie Bear, I think it's just because I think it's just because like you said, like Boston has been giving games away in this postseason. They gave away 2 to Atlanta. You could argue they gave away 2 to Philly. I don't think you can give away games to this Miami Heat team. Like I really don't. Even though you have home court advantage, I think that's a dangerous thing to do with like this team that just capitalizes on your every mistake. So I'm gonna say Miami Heat in 5.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen.
It could happen, which is crazy. It is crazy that it could happen. All right, let's talk.
What do you think? What do you think are the keys, though? What do you think are the keys, like, or key players or whatever?
I
Like
mean,
key
yeah, I mean,
matchups. Like, I mean, is there anything that Boston has to do?
I think Boston has to play smaller, and they have to run either Al Horford or Robert Williams. And honestly, I think it'll be beneficial if they do Al Horford and they kind of do what they were doing with Embiid, forcing him to guard that outside pick and roll action, or excuse me, forcing Bam to guard that, and just making the defense collapse that way. But I mean, the matchup is going to be Jason Tatum versus Jimmy Butler. So
I gotta say, so shouldn't Jaylen Brown have an advantage here? Like, shouldn't he be kind of,
I mean, he should, yeah, but will he?
Yeah, he's kind of been iffy too. Like this interesting. Like sometimes Jaylen Brown go off when Tatum struggles, but he hasn't really had a great series. I don't think. Look at the overall numbers, but
Yeah, I mean,
anyway.
I'm sure Boston probably killed them in the regular season, but I mean, who cares about that? That doesn't mean anything. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be two fun series, man. I'm excited to watch both of these conference final series. As we move over to the Lakers and the Denver Nuggets, we start on Tuesday. This is a tough matchup for us, man. Really miss Dwight and JaVale.
Yeah, man.
But it's all AD and whoever else we can put on Jokic. So I think Nikola Jokic is going to pretty much average 40. And I'm not sure
Well,
there's
he can't
I'm
live
no
like that.
well we can, and this is why. I'm not sure that we can do anything to necessarily slow him down. Like I just don't think we have the bodies. Whether it's Mo Bamba or Tristan Thompson, if we decide to give him some minutes, or it's AD. Jokic is on a roll, and he's in that point in his career where like he knows that he can just bang and just shoot over, just do a jump hook. Um, and he just dominated DeAndre Ayton. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to compare AD and DeAndre Ayton because there's no comparison. AD is way better. He's longer. He's more athletic. He's more experienced. But the fact remains, like Jokic is 295. And I don't think that we want AD banging up against Jokic for a 7-game series. Like that's just going to wear him down, get him in foul trouble, and possibly get him hurt. So I think we should just single coverage, just let Jokic get his and force Jokic to drop 50 to beat you, because what we don't want to happen is we double and then he gets these other guys involved, with Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, or KCP or Jamal Murray. Like we cannot have that happening. Or Bruce Brown off the bench, or that white kid who always scores. I can never remember his name. But look,
Braun or something like that.
yeah. But the reality is, I think like that's going to be our best option, in my opinion. It's just to see if Jokic can drop 50 and beat you, and to try to cut off the passing lanes, try to get to the 3-point shooters, try to make Jamal Murray play one-on-one if he wants to, and whatever. But I do not think that we should be doubling Nikola Jokic at any point in the series. Also, on the other side of that, Jokic cannot guard AD at all, and like I think that's proven. But is AD going to have the energy to sustain being great on offense if he's banging and doing everything he can to stop Jokic on defense? That's going to be the key to the series, really. Where does LeBron factor into all of this? I mean, I don't know the LeBron we're going to get. I mean, are we going to get like the Game 6 LeBron where he was getting to the basket with ease, and his jumper was falling, or are we going to get old man LeBron who trips over his own shoelace? So I don't know. I think that if we can get even like an 80% LeBron, I think that he'll have an advantage. And the Nuggets have no rim protection, so he should easily be able to get to the paint. But I don't know who we're going to get. I think what's going to propel us to win this series, though, and I'm sorry I'm going a little long, is I think it's going to be our others. It's going to be D'Lo, Reeves, just like it has been this entire series. Like it's going to be our others that are going to propel us to win this series. I do think the Lakers are going to win. I think we're going to win in 6. What do you think?
I think a key person is Rui Hachimura. I would love if we could just start him at power forward and let him guard Jokic and see how that goes. Like I would like Jokic, because I would prefer Jokic to try to bang inside.
Mm-hmm.
If you give him a center, he's more likely to try to bring AD out to the 3-point line or something like that, and I don't want that. So because we need AD to cut off all their actions and not give him nothing at the rim except basically we know. So if AD is able to roam and help shut down the defense, I mean their offense. I'm sorry. I think we may give up something here with Rui guarding him. Obviously, if he wants to bang, he's gonna be able to shoot over him, all that type of stuff. But I forget who it was that right before the playoffs started, we had a few good games. No, it was against the Timberwolves, actually, where we put Rui on Cat, and that he actually was able to I mean, I know Cat's
a different
soft,
player, bro.
I'm just saying Rui is built where he can actually somewhat bang with these bigger dudes. Like he's not gonna be able to he's not Dwight, but he's kind of like a similar body type. Honestly, like Dwight, when you think about it, is only 6'10". Rui's 6'9". So he's not as fully strong as Dwight. I'm just saying Out of the options we got, I don't think Vando is it. And I
No,
don't, like you said, I don't think AD. I don't think we want him guarding Jokic for a whole game, for a whole series. And Bron is not going to put in that effort. So
he's not.
I think Rui would be our best option there. What do you think about that? Or should we just start winning Gabriel or something to just
I
be
was about to
fodder?
say, like, let me counter your option, and the only reason I'm even bringing this up is because we signed him for a reason. What if we give Tristan Thompson an opportunity again, like just to see what he could do 1-on-1 against Jokic? Tristan Thompson's what, 6'9" himself, bigger body. If Jokic wants to bang and we can put AD on Aaron Gordon, force him to shoot threes if he wants, and let's let AD sit in the paint, pack the paint, like you said, disrupt the passing lanes, whatever the case may be. Um, I think I would be more comfortable with that option than I would be with Rui.
Like he would
Uh,
start Tristan Thompson.
yes, which sounds crazy.
I'm not. I don't believe. I mean, I like to see it. I think he's going to be useful in this series for sure because we're going to need big bodies. And Mo
Mhm.
Bamba, he's probably going to play, but he's going to get pushed around by
Yeah,
Jokic.
that's
And
food.
Wenyan Gabriel is like 200 pounds. So like literally, I mean, I think if you look up his profile, I think it's like 200 pounds or 180 or something crazy for his size. Nigga need to eat.
Yeah, he's like 6'6", right?
Yeah,
6'7".
I think he's like 6'9".
Oh, is he?
He's like 6'9", 190 or something crazy. I'm not even playing. Hold on, let me look this up.
Nigga need a cheeseburger, boy. Goddamn.
So yeah, I definitely think Tristan Thompson is going to be used out there because of he's a big with some strength and girth and stuff. Yeah, 6'9", 205. Okay, he's a little heavier than I thought, but 205. But only reason I say Rui is because it also helps give us optionality on offense too. Like,
Very true.
and I think the Nuggets, we're going to try to help slow down, all the role players and shut down their offense a little bit, but they're pretty explosive offense, and
They
they
are.
they're kind of like a mix between the Warriors and the Grizzlies because they got some of the Grizzlies size and like look a lot of like Michael Porter Jr. is like 6'10", Aaron Gordon
Mm-hmm.
6'9", KCP 6'6", so they've got some good size on the wings and the forwards, so the guys that actually shooting it pretty good. I was looking at the stats. Aaron Gordon shooting like 38%. Not on high value. He's not somebody you're worried about, but he might hurt you. Michael Porter Jr. is a knockdown shooter. Jamal Murray, Jokic. So all these guys, KCP, all these guys are shooting great. So, and they run a lot of off-ball actions, a lot of split cuts, a lot of just stuff going on the baselines and stuff. Jokic just eat you up with stuff like that. So. I think as the series goes on, we're going to get more used to how they play.
Yep.
I'm interested if the Lakers can win a game up in Denver and dealing with that altitude like that. We've been able to steal games in the road all playoffs. We've been a pretty good road team since we made the trades, but and a great home team obviously. But since we're a lower seed, we got to win on the road. But I don't know, man. It's just kind of like a tall task with that altitude, like especially because we both teams play up and down. I'd have to see a few games to see to really get a good feel, obviously.
Mm.
But I think if we could steal a game, I mean, because they're a bit of a different team home and away. Like they're
Mm-hmm.
just amazing at home because teams get worn down. On the road, they're not quite that good. I mean, not to say they're bad, but they're just, you know. So if we could win our home games, we could still win on the road. I think, that we got to win in six. Lakers in six. But I'm just not feeling as confident about this one as I was with the Grizzlies. I was even more confident with the Warriors because I was looking at I've been watching the Warriors all year. They weren't that good, and I know that their core guys they got some of that mystique, but Clay wasn't it, and Poole was struggling. I wasn't really that worried about them, even though they was stressful as hell. You felt like they were going to make shots, and you just felt like something's going to happen. Maybe that'll be a little bit at ease. The Nuggets don't have that mystique, but they were number one seed. They were great all year, and they've been kicking teams' ass in these playoffs. So
Yep.
it's gonna be tough, man. And Jokic, he's been playing amazing too. We've been hard on him, because he, not really nothing to his fault. He's been a great player.
Mm-hmm.
He's a two-time MVP. He puts up numbers. I mean, he's crazy good. I don't know if he was that guy to be 3-time MVP just because that is like so significant. Like nobody's done that in our lifetime. So,
Yep.
3 straight anyway. So, no, I don't want to feel like we were hating on him, but take it easy on this big guy. I mean, come on.
Nah, I mean, I guess I tend to agree. I am not that. I mean, I wasn't confident in the Warriors series either until after I saw Game One. Man, it's gonna be an interesting series, man. This one can actually go either way on paper anyway. I can't wait until we start to play some of these games so we can actually see what's going on and see what adjustments we can make and what adjustments they're going to make. But this should be a fun series, man. This Heat Celtics and the Warriors Nuggets to both be really fun. One final thing before we get out of here, or I guess two. I'm about to say, do we have to talk about this John Morant thing again? Like, is John Morant?
It's funny. I was talking to my dad like a week or two ago, and he was talking about. I guess he knew somebody or that saw him in the clubs out in LA and stuff like that when they were playing the Lakers, and needless to say, he's a wild boy, and they already had like just the vibes. It's only a matter of time, but he get arrested or something like, and it's not like the gun stuff. He's kind of just wild. Like I don't want to tell no crazy stories, but he basically would just walk up to a girl, and be like, "Hey, suck my dick," and the girl do it, and they just go and do it. They lead, and like you're gonna catch a case dealing with this, man. Like just so reckless out there and flashing guns and just. I don't know, man. Maybe he just feel like his life is just a movie, and like everybody's just peons, and it doesn't matter. But he just seems like he's in his own reality. It doesn't, I don't know.
Yeah, he'll be out the league in a year. He's a dumbass.
A year?
I'm done with him.
He's too good for that. He's way too talented to be out.
No, it's like you said. He's gonna be arrested. He's gonna catch a case. He's gonna do something stupid. Like he's a 22-year-old dumbass kid. And I'm gonna treat him as such until he proves wrong. So, yeah, I'm done with John Morant. Last thing I want to talk about is the NBA Draft Lottery. It's coming up on Tuesday. The Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes right before our game on Tuesday. Obviously, I think Detroit, Houston, Orlando, and somewhere else has the best chance to get the number 1 pick. I know it's all tied up.
Charlotte,
I don't think Charlotte was that bad. Well, maybe they were. I don't know. They were pretty bad.
Yeah, so it'll go Detroit, Houston, San Antonio, Charlotte, Portland 5.
Yeah. So where do you want to see Wemby end up, man? Where do you want to watch him play in the summer league?
I'm see where I don't want is Portland because it seemed like every great big man to get drafted there get hurt. So I just don't want to see that for him. I think Houston honestly be interested now since they got Ime Udoka, they got an adult in the room.
They need James Harden.
I would steer clear of James Harden, bro. Like they need a good veteran, but not like that. Like he's not going to show no leadership like that, professionalism. I wouldn't. What about Dallas? What if Dallas? That would be that would be crazy. That would be crazy.
They have like a 3% chance, right, of getting it.
3%. Yeah, 3% chance.
Yeah.
If anybody behind them goes up, they lose their pick because their pick is top 10 protected for to the Knicks. So if say like the Bulls or the Thunder, the Raptors or the Pelicans, any of those teams move up, Dallas just had to just tank for no reason. And then the Knicks, they got a pick to grease their star chasing.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting day on Tuesday. I'm going to be watching for sure to see where Victor Wembanyama and others end up.
Where I want is San Antonio. Because Pop, like, he deserves something better than that. He looking down there, looking just like that old sage, like Yoda, like lost on a planet or something. He just need the one.
Yeah, he needs his star. Yeah. All right, man. Look, great pod. We went an hour again. Okay, cool. Yeah, great pod. We'll be back next week, I guess, when the Lakers are up 3-0.
Yes, sir. We'll say, depending on how the Lakers go. we sad. No, we
right. All right, man. Thanks.